What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to share the video, comment. I promise to get back to you on the comments. Today, we got a special guest on, and he's a special guest because he's a dude that I did a lot of time with. He was one of my best friends in prison. He's from my city. He's been through a lot. He actually tried to stop a murder, I believe, at USP TERRE HAUTE. Like, he got involved. This dude's been involved in some stuff, spent a lot of his life in prison, was one of the founders of the New York posse in my city. Someone that I was like, damn, this is one of them dudes I talk about when young guys were looking up to the wrong people. But his brother turned his life around. He's doing good now. But Jason, a.k.a. Green Eyes, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, tell the people about you, where you're from.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jason, also known as Green Eyes, also known as J Solo, New York posse. I'm from Rochester, New York, proud of it. Proud of some of the people I've met throughout life. But if I could discourage anybody from anything, it'd be to lead the life I led. So I've done 27 out of the last 33 years in prison. I'm currently in a federal halfway house.
So let's talk about this, right? When you first went to federal prison, because you got a couple federal bids, how much time were you sentenced to?
The first time I got 77 months for a bullet.
For one bullet. I want that to resonate with some of these young dudes. You got 77 months in federal prison for one bullet. Talk a little bit about that one bullet, because I remember the particulars.
Well, the one bullet, I was working at a motel, and they were having a turkey shoot at the time, and I was maintenance man, so I was cleaning up the room. I threw all the extra 22 shells I found laying around the room, threw them into my toolbox, took them all out and gave them to the manager, except for I forgot one. And my PO found it and turned it over to the ATF. Next thing you know, I'm sitting in federal prison.
Let's talk about the first federal prison you went to, bro. What was the first federal prison you went to?
First federal prison I went was USP TERRE HAUTE.
How was USP TERRE HAUTE back then? Dangerous place?
One of the most dangerous places in the United States.
And I know Jason. Go ahead, Jason.
Go ahead, sir.
So I know over there, man, you've seen a lot of things over there. And I want to talk about one specific incident. We'll talk about some other stuff, but you were involved in something over there, and it was a murder over there, right?
Correct. What had happened was some dude was owed some money. He was in one of our cars, a New York car, and he asked the guy for his money. They jumped him. So one of the so-called car holders, key holders, whatever you want to call them, decided that we can't let that go. So he told the dude, go out there and get your man. So when he went out there to get his man, he ran up there in the middle of a group and started fighting. I ran up in there to help him because they were trying to stab him, and he literally got his brain stomped out. He was crying for his mom. All you could hear was gurgling sounds as he was crying for his mom. I ended up getting stabbed in the process for something that wasn't even my fight. But I don't regret trying to help him because, a person by their heart, you know what I mean? If you got a good heart, you're going to do the right thing.
Let me ask you this, right? As far as them stomping on him, didn't they his brains were coming out of his head, right?
Out of his ears and out of his eyes. And they were climbing up a fence and jumping off of it onto him when I jumped in.
Was that one of the wildest things you've seen in prison?
Well, I guess that and being involved in USP Pollock in 2009, where 9 people got killed in 1 year. I guess that and the riot that happened there.
I want to talk a little bit more about TERRE HAUTE, and we'll get to Pollock in a minute. When that stuff happened over there, did you end up going to the hole over that stuff in TERRE HAUTE?
Yeah, I sat in the hole for 19 months under investigation for murder.
And you were the one trying to help the dude that got murdered, and they had you under an investigation that long.
Yeah, it was some trying times, man. That's a long time to sit in a little cell. You know what I mean? 12 by 8. You know what I mean? I wasn't allowed to cellie for the first 13 months. So it was by myself in a cell. It's being in a cell by yourself for that long and with really no human contact for real, except for what they bring to your chuckle, is it it's mentally draining.
Let me ask you this, right? Because I spent a lot of time here. Actually, me and you were cellies in the hole at one time, USP Lee. Do you think sitting in the hole that long affected you mentally? I mean, for the rest of your life?
I feel that it still affects me today. I feel like I have a problem communicating with people. That coming across to people like I have a chip on my shoulder when really it's not a chip. It's the fact that I'm scared of anybody near me.
I feel you on that, man. I've been through it. I've been through it myself. Let's talk a little bit about USP Pollock. Pretty dangerous place. One of the most dangerous prisons in the country, right?
Yeah, it really was. It was well, when you first get there, there's a captain there at the time. I had a razor blade in my mouth when I got there, and he came up to me and said, "You're from New York?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Spit that razor blade out. You're not gonna need that here." So I'm thinking, hey, I'm not gonna need none. It might be a nice joint. He said, "Don't worry. The people, as long as your paperwork's clean, your people will give you a knife." Then he said, "Just don't stab none of mine." I'm not really thinking too much of it at the time, but what he said next really caught me off guard was like he said, "If any of you guys here got messed up paperwork, you're a rat or chomo, I advise you to go ahead and check in now because I can't protect you here." At that moment, I knew what I was in for.
And you were over there with, we'll talk about some other stuff. You were over there with Gene Gotti too, right?
Oh yeah, Gene was a good guy, man. I met him. I used to work in the kitchen and sell him all kinds of vegetables and spaghettis and the noodles and stuff like that he couldn't get off commissary.
How was he just being around him? Did he talk to people? Did you help him out and stuff like that, being you were from New York?
Yeah, he only messed with guys from New York, and there wasn't that many white guys there, so it was more he dealt with us Puerto Ricans and stuff like that than he did with anything else because that's all he knows. You know what I'm saying? He's really a nice guy. He wasn't meeting somebody with that kind of high profile of a case or that high profile of a life. You wouldn't think that he was that down to earth the way he was.
What do you mean down to earth? Did he joke? Did he play? Did he laugh? Did he talk shit?
Yeah, he was. He talked shit a little bit here, a little bit there. If he knew you, if he didn't know you, he wouldn't speak to you. He would laugh, joke. He said, "This is the life that he chose." You know what I mean? He can't. He couldn't say anything else other than the fact that he wished he could have changed some things in his life also. You know what I mean?
I hear you. So, when you work in the kitchen in prison, you can steal shit out of there and people sell it. It's a hustle. Do you ever eat with this guy?
Yeah, we sat down and ate together. You know what I mean? I'd bring the food and he'd cook it. He's a hell of a cook out of the microwave. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Like, the one thing about him is when the violence broke out, he always went to his room, which is typical of someone with his stature. You know what I mean?
So when something happened, Gene's just kind of like, "Hey, I'm going in my cell. You guys do what you got to do. I'm not involved in this shit."
Right. Well, when I was there in 2009, there was 9 people got killed. It wasn't like they didn't lock us down for long. You know what I mean? They cleaned up the blood and put us right back out there. Then you had D.C. and Louisiana get into it, and New York jumped in it. So that involved me, and it's not like you can do your own time in federal prison, man. You're in a gang, whether you want to be in a gang or not.
Sometimes they call gangs cars, right?
Yeah, pretty much that's what they're considering in federal prison. Are cars, you know what I'm saying? So it's a gang, really. You can call it what you want to call it. It's still can't change the spots, bro. You know what I'm talking about?
I do, but the viewers might not. This is the thing, right? Like, people don't know. I know you. You went hard for the New York car. Like, you went super, super hard. You believed in what you believed in. And for real, man, like you said, you had a kind heart, bro. You'd help anybody. That's just kind of the type of dude you were, right?
Right. It's like I'm saying, like at Lee County, when we was there and dude tried to hit you with the rock. You know what I'm saying? You pieced them up, whatever. But I'm not gonna let them jump you. You're one of my little brothers from the hood. You know what I mean? There's no way I'm not gonna sit there and watch somebody I know get hurt.
Me and you hung out. Me and you hung out pretty hard every single day, and you know, for the people that are watching, I think I still got that shot. I'm gonna pull it out. Maybe I'll post it on the video. And it talks about you grabbing the bat. So, dude had owed me money, owed me like $450. He came up behind me. I just came back from a visit. Came out there to watch the softball game, and he tried to hit me with rocks because he didn't want to pay me. And he missed me, but there's a reason why, right? Why'd he miss hitting me in the head with them rocks?
Because I screamed out, "Chad, watch out," as I was playing, as I was trying to win the softball game at the time. You know what I mean?
You were a pretty good softball player. Yeah, so dude swings them rocks at me. I tag him a couple times. Some of his homeboys jump up off the wall. You grab the baseball bat. That sits the dudes down. I end up hitting the kid a couple times. I make it off the yard that day. Did you go to the hole that night?
I went to the hole. Yeah, I went to the hole. I never made it off the yard.
So that you and him go to the hole, Bledsoe, and then he tells them that it was me. They didn't know who it was. And then they come back to the unit. They take me. I go to the hole. We become cellies in the hole immediately, right?
Yeah. So at that point, they were like, they were punishing so they could see that the fact that I crossed some lines that aren't normally crossed at that point. You know what I mean? You're in a white car, white New York, white East Coast car. I'm in a Spanish black car, and I crossed some lines that they call racial lines, and so they said for my own safety and for the safety of the institution that it was best that I be transferred right along with you.
Both me and you ended up getting transferred. We were cellies in the hole for a long time. Let's talk a little more about Lee County, because I did a video on Mark Jordan. Do you remember Mark?
Yeah, I remember Mark. He's kind of a weirdo, bro. For real.
I want people to know we didn't talk about this interview before. We just, off the cuff, we're doing it. We're just kicking it. Yeah, he came from the ADX, did all that time over there, killed a dude. Then, you know, they had an incident on the yard. I don't know if you remember. Remember the one dude from Philly came, and then the dude from Florida didn't want to go to Florida prison, so they go out on the yard. They try to stab the dude. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the dude ended up taking a knife and stabbing him. You know what I mean? So it just goes to show, man, if you're not doing right, things can happen bad for you. You know what I'm saying? But as much as it's like you would help anybody that came there that was from Rochester. It didn't matter what color they were or whatever, you know what I mean? And then when it came time for something bad to happen to you, God watched out for you. You know what I'm saying? No matter, it could have been anybody standing there on third base, not just me. You know what I mean? But it happened to be me that night.
You were my right-hand man, bro. I mean, we ended up in the hole together. How long were we cellies in the hole for, man? Probably what? Maybe 4 or 5 months straight, right?
About 4 or 5 months. And I ended up going to Hazleton.
So you go ahead. You're all right. You go to Hazleton, but we're going to talk a little bit more about Lee County. Go ahead.
Lee County, that place there was kind of off the chain too, man. It's like it was wide open.
I mean, we made a lot of money over there, right?
Hey, you ever tell anybody about the time that we was out there making slush puppies? What are they called? Snow cones?
I think we did an interview. I think I did an interview with Dog when that happened with the snow. You're talking about the thing with the snow cone, dude?
No, when me and you was out there making them, you had me crushing them.
Yeah. You tell the people about it. Tell them what we used to do, how we used to hustle in there.
All right. Well, this is what happened, man. We would take these pant legs and we put a net bag in there, a laundry bag, and we put a bunch of ice in it, and we beat it on the floor for hours. And then it would be all crushed up little ice. And we would take it out to the yard and take some Kool-Aid or some concentrate from the kitchen, and then we would sell snow cones to people, man, for like 4 stamps a piece or something like that, if I remember right. And that's $1, you know what I mean? So it's like 25 cents a stamp, a postage stamp. So as time went by, you know, that adds up after a while. It might not seem like a lot at first, but $1 a snow cone. That's kind of high, even for prison. But
sometimes we make $150 a day on a Friday and a Saturday, right?
oh yeah, nice hot day. Oh yeah, it'll be over with because it's dry heat down there. So
We
yeah, you can make some good money over there.
That was one thing about USP Lee. You could hustle over there, you know?
It's not like that anymore, man. They shut it down. They done broke the yards off and everything.
It was a nice place when we were there, so.
We ruined a lot of places for ourselves, though, as men and as inmates and convicts. We ruined a lot of things in the system for ourselves. It's not something I would recommend. You know, I'm laughing and smiling about it, but it's not something I would recommend for anybody to follow in my footsteps.
We can smile now, man, but, you know, even then, man, sometimes we had to smile to keep from crying, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it's not like any man will say, oh, I never cry, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I lay there at night sometimes and cried myself and hope my monkey wouldn't hear me. You know?
That's the part that people don't see. That's the part that people don't understand. And I talk about that stuff on my show, that there's times, man, when you're laying in your bed and you're like, damn, man, I just want to get out of here. I want to be normal, man. I want to have a wife. I want to have a family. Those are the things that I thought about. What did you used to think about when you'd be laying in there?
I really thinking about my daughters, man. No, I got a 34 and 35-year-old daughter right now, bro, that won't speak to me because of the amount of time that I've done and what I've been through in my life and how I wasn't there for them, you know. And then I got 5 grandchildren I've never met. I've only seen pictures of, you know. So, well, we all say we're gangster, we're tough, we're that. Well, I'm soft because I cry about that stuff, you know.
I'm a firm believer that every little girl's first hero in life is her father. And sometimes, and not sometimes, but in many cases, a lot of fathers go to prison and they leave their daughters out here when they really need a father. You agree with that?
110%. I agree with that. I think us not being there as fathers is really hard on little girls because, you know, even though they count on their moms for certain things, their dad is always the ones that console them coming up through life, no matter what. Their first boyfriend, their first heartbreak, is daddy that's got to be there, man. You know, that's who they're looking for.
For sure. You know, let's talk a little bit. We'll get back there in a minute. Let's talk a little bit about your upbringing. You grew up in Rochester, New York. What side did you grow up on?
I grew up on the west side, in over on Jay and Whitney area.
Ghost town area, just like me, right?
Most definitely.
And when you were a young man, talk about your upbringing, man. Like, you know, I've told people, man, I grew up with a single mother and, you know, it was tough. I had a stepfather that was in and out of my life. But talk a little bit about what it was like growing up over there. Was it the hood? Were there days when you went hungry? Was your mother on social service? I mean, talk about that stuff.
Well, I grew up in St. Josephville to start with, man, and then at 13, I moved over there on the west side with my family. You guys take it. I'm in the middle of something, please. So I grew up over there, man, and my aunts and everybody were all from the west side. So Murray, Jay, Whitney, all that area over there, and yeah, it was hard times, man. I remember standing in cheese lines. You know what I'm saying? So.
But hey, let me stop you though. That welfare cheese made the best grilled cheese sandwiches, did it not?
Man, I'm surprised we're not still constipated today. It was so good.
So go ahead.
So it's like, and then around, I guess I was around 15, 16. I started hanging with a bunch of guys, and we decided we're gonna protect our neighborhood, just like Ghost Town Hustlers did before us, you know. So it's like I regret that time in life, man, because a lot of people were hurt. A lot of people lost chances to make a good life for themselves due to the fact that we just wanted to protect our neighborhood from other people, you know. And it wasn't so much that we wanted to protect our neighborhood. We were just doing nonsense, stuff that didn't need to be done. You know what I mean?
You guys used to beef real hard with another group called Too Hard Posse, right?
Most definitely.
They were like your rivals. It's like you guys looked for someone to have a rival with, and you started this gang, they started that gang. Next thing I know, were you guys shooting at each other?
We were shooting at each other, catching each other anywhere we can. We go look for them. We'd have girls tricking them, tricking them over the neighborhoods. And I remember that Paul and all them, by the way, just to give a shout out to them. I hope they change their life also. You know what I'm saying? Life in general, man, it's like we picked something and they picked up something, and we were in pretty much the same neighborhood. They weren't far from us. You know what I mean? So it was like we just wanted control of our area, and they wanted control of their area. So we're beefing, but mainly it started over a female. One of the brothers on the New York posse was seeing a female, and that female was seeing one of them. If I remember right, it was Paul's brother. And they ended up jumping one of the brothers, and we took off from there. And we did some things that we really, after a while, we realized was wrong, man. You know what I mean? People were getting hurt, drive-by shootings and stuff like that. Santee Park was when I moved up there across the street on Village Street. That was our park, and we kept it clean. We wanted to keep it clean for kids, but how can we ask them not to attack us in them areas with kids around when we're attacking them? You know what I mean?
That's a good point, man. So let me ask this: you ever have any friends that ended up with 25 to life, or ended up in New York State prison over that gang shit? Any of your enemies? Any of them guys?
Yeah, most definitely. The little brother I'm mentioning him is a little brother named Pito. He ended up getting 25 years for murder. He ended up stabbing somebody right there in the corner of J. It was a little corner store of mine, and he ended up getting 25 years by the bar. And he was a good kid, man. His mom had I'm not gonna put all his business out there, but his mom was had some health issues. You know what I mean? And back then with those health issues, everybody knew what they were. And his dad had already passed away, so he took everything to heart. Everything, the only family he knew was New York posse. We were his brothers, we were his father, we were his mother. You know what I mean? He's all we had. And today, he's still doing time, man. He's paying for his crimes, And no matter what, the state can the feds can never give us the amount of time that we're going to be suffering with the pain and agony that we took someone else's life. It's not something that you can mentally get over. You know what I mean? Even like in Terre Haute, when brother got killed, that's something I deal with every single day of my life. Every day that goes through my mind. Could I have done more? What could I have done to prevent it?
Let me ask you this. What do you think about the shot caller, right? Dude that had the keys that told him, yo, you got to go out there and do something. Don't you think the other New York dude should have went out there with him and handled that? Because that's the way it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, you would think that, but it seems like every time something like that happens, it's always, you guys go handle it. You know what I mean? And it's like, if I got the keys, I'm gonna tell you, you go handle it. While you go handle it, I must be in here watching TV. You know what I mean? I'm being here collecting my dope money. You know what I mean? They don't want to go out there and deal with the individuals. The only time they ever want to do anything is if it benefits them. And that's our fault for choosing the leaders the way we choose them while we're there.
Do you remember Lee County? Do you remember Jay Quan? He had the New York car over there, right?
Yeah.
I would say he was a good leader. I mean, how did you feel about that?
I thought he was an excellent leader. I remember at one time that the brothers wanted to get me off the yard. They didn't like the way I was acting. And he stood up for me and said the brother hasn't done anything, he ain't paid for it, ain't bad, you're not doing anything to him. And that's the way it went down. You were there, you stood with me by my side, you know what I mean? We were about to take out the whole car. But at the same time, bro, in that position, it could get you a leadership role if something happens while you're there.
I do. I remember that, man. I remember us being out on the yard. One dude acted like he wanted to stab you. Do you remember all that shit?
I remember all that. I remember all that. And, you know, you stood by my side and you stood up and said, I'm going with him. And Jaquan stood up and said, he's going with me. And we about took on the whole car. And they decided that it was probably better to leave it alone.
I'm glad that they did. But, man, you used to do some crazy shit over there, right? Be honest, bro.
Oh, yeah, I was young. I was young and dumb and still ready to get it in. You know what I mean? But
let's talk about.
That's not the life I want these people to know, bro. I want them to know how it affected me. You know what I'm saying? How it's affecting me today. How I got to go work for $10 an hour at a fast food restaurant because nobody else wants to hire me because of my criminal record.
That's a harsh reality right there, man. It's a very, very harsh reality. I want to talk. We're gonna talk about that before we close. But I want to talk a little bit about when you were in the SHU because I think it does affect you mentally. I remember there was a time when you went to rec and you wouldn't come in. Didn't you climb up to the top of the rec cage? Told them to come get you and all kinds of shit.
Yeah, I told them go get the little Ninja Turtles and bring it on. You know, but yeah, I climbed to the top of the cage and I just had enough. You know, enough stress, enough. It was just too much, you know. Comes time when you just had enough, and they can't break you, but you'll break yourself mentally because it's just all curled up in your mind. Like, why am I being held like a dog? You know, a dog gets more space than you get while you're in the SHU.
And I remember there was a time, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember we went to rec one time and we said, fuck it, we ain't going in. We're going to stay out here for rec as long as we want it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember we bucked.
And they brought, do you remember the female lieutenant came down there and she talked to us, but we were like, fuck it, we're going to go get 3 or 4 hours of extra rec today. And then they deaded us on rec for the rest of the week. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. We wanted a little extra time out. It was nice out that day.
Yeah. Some people do that, man. You get tired of being in that cell. It hurts you. It damages you mentally and emotionally, right?
Definitely. It's like, I recall there were some people that you really wanted to call while you were in the hole that you couldn't talk to every day like you wanted to, you know. And things got to affecting us, you know, to where that's all we think about is our family and how we're affecting them in the world, you know, in society. That our world is different. Like we say, it's our world, but it's society. You know what I mean? It's totally different. It's like being in Japan and here, you know what I'm saying? In the United States, it's just totally different two places.
For sure. Let's talk a little bit about your reentry, man. Was it tough walking out of prison? I mean, how long ago did you get out?
I got out July 20th.
And you're still at the halfway house now, right?
We're at the halfway house till March.
Until March. So when you leave the halfway house, are you going to have a place to go?
Yeah, I got a place to go, but it's not the place I really want to be. I want to be back east in Pennsylvania. I have a girl and her kids up there. She's my world, you know what I mean? And she's good for me. She's not a drug user. She's not she don't run the streets, none of that stuff, you know. But that's where I want to be. But due to my criminal history and the violence of my past, the U.S. probation department doesn't want to accept me up there. So my probation officer is willing to let me go there, which that doesn't surprise me. So, but they don't want to accept me. So I got to put in again and see if maybe I'll get a different probation officer up there that'll give me a shot.
You talked about employment, getting out of prison, man. It's difficult getting a job where you're at?
No, not for. There's millions of jobs here, but once I tell them how many times I've been in federal prison or how many times I've been in prison in general, they kind of look like this man's never going to change. I'm 51 years old. You know, who wants to take a chance on me? You know what I mean? Who wants to say, okay, did this leopard change his stripes? You know, or his spots? Can I train this man he's only going to be here a couple of years and he's going to retire, not retire, but he's going to be getting Social Security. What he has health problems. Nobody, you know what I mean? Nobody. I'm in good shape, yeah, but nobody wants to see that. All they see is an age. When they see it, all they see is your criminal history.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy to have to get out and struggle. But you know what? Do you feel like, do you feel like it's better to be here than in there?
Excuse me?
Do you feel like it's better to be out than to be in there?
At some points, I really want to go back.
You know, I ask you that because other people have said that to me. Why do you feel like you want to go back to prison?
The structure, there's not as much stress in prison. People say there is a lot of stress, but there's not as much because you don't have to worry about what your next meal is coming from. You don't have to worry about getting up to go to work. You don't have to. Everything is programmed into you. Like that door pops at 6 o'clock every morning. You know when that door pops, you better be on your feet. You know what to expect on a daily basis. In society, you don't know what to expect. It's hard.
I'm going to tell you this, man. I don't care how hard it is. Now that I've touched freedom, I tell people the air smells different on this side. You know what I mean? I don't never want to go back, regardless of the structure or any of that stuff. I want to be free, man. And I think you really do too. But sometimes the stress out here and the things that you got to worry about, you don't have a mom to take care of you. You don't have, when we're in our 40s and our 50s, that's over with. We're men now. And it's time to grow up and be a man. You have to take care of yourself. You have to feed yourself. You have to take care of your family. You have to take care of you. If you can't take care of you, you can't take care of anyone else. But I'll tell you what, I'd rather be out here struggling than being there.
That's the thing. I can say that at sometimes I feel that way. But in general, I know this is what I want. I want my freedom, and I want to be out here. It's just hard to, big crowds are hard for me. I'm antisocial a lot, but I'm trying to change that. It's hard to just change. You can't change overnight, but you have to try. You have to take step by step. That's what I've been doing, and I want to be out here. I don't want to be in prison anymore. I think about it when I'm laying down at night. It's like, wow, I can get up here. I can go over here and grab me something to eat. Tomorrow I'll be able to go over here and do what I want to do. I can go find me a place, whatever. Go stay at the motel for the weekend, whatever I need to do. You know what I mean?
One thing I know about you, Green Eyes, is this. In prison, you were a hustler, no matter what it was, man. And you know what? We live that life in there. Sometimes we do, sell drugs. Sometimes we sell snow cones. Sometimes we sell soda. Sometimes we got a store. Sometimes we steal shit out of the kitchen to sell. You always had a hustle, man. And I know that out here you can make it, man. I know you can. And you don't have to do illegal shit to make it.
That's the thing. I got to keep myself away from the temptations. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's been offers for me to go back and do things, but that's not the life I want. So I've turned it down. I've turned down selling drugs again. I've turned down committing a robbery. This is stuff I dealt with in the last 3-4 months that I refuse to go back into.
No doubt. So look, man, before we close the show, I want you to if you could give us a message to your younger self, right? I don't want you to talk to no one but your younger self. You were involved in a gang. You helped start that gang. You guys did some crazy shit. I used to think you guys were cool when I was 11 or 12. What would the message be to your younger self, man?
To my younger self, I would be, don't take that path. That's a path of no return, and that there's better things in life on the other side of that fence. And the people that you'll hurt are the same people that you regret later on in life and that you'll always feel remorse for. And it's a hard pain to deal with on a daily basis. And I would tell myself that I want to spend time with my kids that I haven't spent. I owe them for the rest of my life because I wasn't man enough to be the father that I should have been. I was 17-year-old, 2 kids. So I owe them, and they'll never forgive me for not being there. That's something I can never get back this time.
Hey, listen, man, I feel you, and I appreciate you coming on the show. I know that was something that used to bother you back then, but I want to see you do the right thing. I want to see you stay on the right path, man. And you know, we were close, man. I love you, bro. We were friends, man. You were my right hand man for a long time over there. You know, I could count on you. And when something happened, you were there, and it proved it. Hey, look, I can count on this dude. You know what I mean? So, look, bro, I appreciate you coming on the show. I'm going to close the show and tell people, you know, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the video. Someone needs to hear this. It might be a young man. It might be an older guy that's going through the same struggles that you're going through. But you know what? Our best day in prison, I'd rather be out here on my worst day. You know what I mean? Compared to my best day in there. So
and we need soldiers for change, brother. All this other stuff is it's not for us.
It's sad that it took so many years of our lives to have to learn that, right? And hopefully someone that's at that age now can hear a video, even if it's one person, if it changes their life so that they don't have to go down the course that we went down. So at the age of 51, they're not struggling with a $10 an hour job. Let this be the lesson, man. You know what I mean?
I hear you, brother.
So look, bro, I appreciate you. I'm going to close the show with respect. Blood on the razor wire. Until tomorrow, we're out.